Hello again, welcome to this other lesson of JavaScript Objects. And in this section, we're going to look at the concept of an object. And so what is an object? Earlier on, when we were looking at the concept of data types, we said that one of the type of data that can be stored is the object. And so an object is simply a variable that contains many values or properties in short. And these properties are written in the form of key and value pair. So in system design, when you are designing your program, so let us say for example you want to create a learning management system or a portal. So when you look at that system of yours, you realize that you are going to store information about some entities, and one of those entities could be maybe you want to store information about the students who have enrolled. You're going to store information about courses, for example. You're going to store information about teachers or instructors. You're going to store some information about payments or stuff like that. So when you look at those concepts, for example, students, courses, teachers, those can be objects. And when you pick any one of those objects, you realize that the object has a lot of data that you're going to store. So for example, the student, you would want to store students' information like the name, the place of birth, the date of birth, their age, admission numbers, and so forth. When you look at course object, maybe you're going to store information about course like the course title, the course description, the course price, and the course modules, and so on and so forth. So when you are modeling or when you are designing your system must have real world entities which will be objects, and those objects will have properties. And the way you are going to store those properties are you are going to store them in form of key and key value pair. So for you to be able to store those properties in your code, you're going to use a data type of the objects. So you're going to declare an object. And how do we declare an object? Normally you should be declaring your object using the const keyword. So you will have a variable called maybe whatever name you want to call it, but it must be using the constant keyword. Then the objects are created using the curly brackets, like the one you're seeing in this demonstration here. So here we have an object called person, and this object has got 4 properties, which is the first name, the last name, the age, and the color or the eye color. And when you look at these properties, they are in the form of, we have the key, which is the first name, the value here is John. We have another key, last name, the value here is Duo. The key here is age, and the value here is 50. So they normally come in the form of key value pair. So objects have properties, and this is what we mean by the properties, and they can also have functions or methods. So let's demonstrate a simple example of creating an object. And below this line, below this code here, I'm going to declare a variable. Call it, for example, I'm going to declare it using const, because we say that mostly you should use the constant keyword to declare object variables. So we are going to have an object called course, and this course object has maybe 3 properties, and because it is going to be an object, we are going to use curly brackets, as you can see here. And so the first property of that object, we can call it title. And so what is the value? what is the value of that. So we say maybe full stack. The next, maybe description, I want to shorten as desk, and we say this is a full stack course with React and Express, for example. Then I add the last property, which is the price. So let's say the course price is maybe 2000. So because my code is moving over, I want to break it down here. So we have an object variable course, and this we are assigning an object of these properties. So this object has 3 properties: title, description, and price. So now let us print this object below here. So we can print it console.log, and we say course, this is course entity, and then after that we refer to course variable. And so when we rerun this program here, you can see that we have the course object printed here with these curly brackets. But let's say we only want to print, we only need to print the title of this course. We don't want to print all these other information. What we only want is the title. So how do we do that? So here, in place of, instead of writing course, we can access a particular property using the property name. So here we say course dot title, and this will only give us the title property. So you can see down here, it is the course entity is full stack. So we can, instead of saying course entity, let us say the course title is full stack. So when I rerun this, so now it says the course title is full stack. The same thing, if you want to only print the description, you will access the description using course dot then the property name description, and you're able to get that. So when you run the code again, you can see the course title is, so let me replace it here. Instead of title, I want to write description. Let me clear. So when I run again the program, it says that the course description, it prints now the particular value of that course description. So that's how you can access, you can either print all the information about an object all at once, or you can print one property, the one you desire, by using the property name. So, and that's why we're saying here, you can display the object by using the property name. For example, the object name dot property name, or you can use object dot values. This will print all the values of that object, or you can use object JSON dot string file. So all this will give you the object. So let us use the third one. We have already used this. So if you use object dot value, we come here and say, so here we print the course, let us say course details, and then here we are going to say object dot values, and we are going to print the values of the course object. Alright, So when we rerun this code, you're going to see that it prints the course details here. So all the course details is printed here. We have full stack as the title, we have the description here, and we have the price. Another alternative way we can print it is by using the JSON.stringFi, and then we provide the object name within that brackets. So instead of using object.values, we can use JSON dot stringFi, and you can see it appears there. Then you give the object name within the brackets, and so when you run, let me clear the console and then run the code again, and so again you can see that it prints the course details below here. Alright, so that is all about the objects, how you can declare an object, and how you can access the values of that object, and how you can print the values of that object. Unless you have a question, you can ask before we proceed. Any question? All right. Okay, so if you're okay, let me pause this video and then again